Hello. I posted a thing about building servo extensions today, and a few people had said, well, how do you do it? What are the tips? And so we're going to go ahead and make a quick video on the things that I've learned. I'm not going to say that this is the right way to do it. I'm going to say this is the way that works for me. In this hobby, it's strangely contentious. If you say this is the right way, then there's 10 people that'll say you're wrong. This is what works for me. Hopefully it'll help you as well. Save you a little bit of money and make your setups look a little cleaner. We're going to go over the tools that we need, okay? Building extensions is really not difficult at all. It just takes a little bit of time. Good television show always helps. So I start out by just using some standard wire strippers. As long as they've got the 22 or 20 gauge wire on them, you're good to go. I've used these same crimpers for 20 years. They have here on the left-hand side, you can see they've got the smaller gauge wire, and then here on the right-hand side for the heavier gauge wire. Everything I use is giant scale, so I like to, well, most of what I have is giant scale. So what I like to use is this heavy-duty twisted wire that I get from my local hobby shop at Servo City has it as well. You can see you can get JR wire, you can get it twisted, you can get Futaba wire, which is flat, and flat. You can get Futaba wire twisted. You know, it's just whatever your preference is. I've always heard that twisted wire does a better job with the radio signal. I feel like doing giant scale with high voltage servos, anywhere I can minimize the signal, I will. Then you want to get these gold plated connectors, so you get the male and the female here, and you also have these just servo ends. So both of these are identical, and then you'll only need one of these sleeves to create the male side. So this is where we're going to start. Real quick, go through the wires. Orange or white is your signal wire. And this is really important when you're using the twisted wire, because it is always going to be mixed up. You're always going to have it kind of however it untwists, so you'll have to put it in right. So you're going to go red in the center, your ground wire, which is the brown or the black, and then the orange on the side. I like to cut off about I'm going to put that wire in so that the back, this portion here, goes onto the rubber around the wire. And then the front keeper, this front one here, is going to go around my wire. So I drop the wire in just as I discussed. I always like to twist it right before, so I have it nice and tight. Okay. I line the wire up with the end going in, my rubber going to the end. Now, this is where I used to make a lot of mistakes, because I would start crimping. Now, what I have found is if I just use the ends of my crimper, I can lightly squeeze the sides together. Okay, now all I'm doing is just squeezing the sides, so this will hold on, but it's just sitting on there. So the next thing that I do is I clamp the back clamp with the rubber. Okay, now I don't have to squeeze it, I don't have to put a death grip on it. It's nice and straight so that I am looking at my wire, okay? And then the side with the opening that we're crimping is going to go in this socket right here. Now, if you try to go into that socket with a fresh clamp or a fresh end, when you start squeezing, it turns on you. It rotates within that socket. And because it rotates in that socket, it makes it very hard to make it clean. So here's the trick. On this second clamp. You don't want to go up too high. Okay, so I usually start a little lower, and then I just slowly crimp my way up. Pull it out, crimp my way up. Pull it out, crimp my way up. And you're going to see really quickly where your wire went into underneath that piece. That's where you want to end. So you kind of want to just give yourself that nice little ridge. So I don't go in and one of the things that I don't do is I don't try to crimp it all at once. I don't try to, it's tiny and it's delicate. And so I start on the back, I clamp the wire, or the housing of the wire. And then from there, I just start working my way up. And then I have a nice clean, and we'll take a photo of this, nice clean connection. Now I'm actually going to screw up the second one intentionally, and I'm going to show you what I used to do and why, or how to correct that. So here's a trick that, or here's something that I used to do a lot. When I was building wires, I would crimp the front crimp, the one around the wire, first, and then I would try to catch the back one, and then I would scoot to the back and catch the back one. And what would happen is I would get the coating from the wire would kind of wad up, and when it wads up, you can't push it in to the servo connector. It just simply won't go in and click in. And so if you find that you've done that, to save it, all you really need to do is just go in and pull the covering off. So just pull that wire coating off and the sheath off. So to fix it, you can just go in and pull the sheath off of that wire and clean it up, and you should be able to push it into your connector. So this is what happens when you crimp the front before you crimp the back. And I have no idea why it does this, but if you crimp the back first, it doesn't do this. This right here will not go in to the fitting. If I try to push this into the fitting, what's going to happen is it won't lock, because you want that plastic piece to come in and lock right in that area. So it has to go in far enough and then lock. So if you ever build one like this and you have that little bit of skin hanging off of there, all you need to do is just take your thumbnail and just grab that and pull it off. Okay, so, and you can see that I've cleaned it off. It's not sticking up anymore. Now, it's still, you look at this one, I crimped the front first and the back second. So you look at this one and it's just different. I crimped the back first. For some reason, it makes it so that that all stays in nice and clean. You crimp the front, you pull it up through, and it stays nice and tight. So you can see here the difference. Crimping the back and slowly working my way forward on those top two. And the bottom one, it just messes up. So crimp the back, walk forward. Okay, now these are out of order. The red needs to be in the middle. And I'm going to just go ahead and slide these right into the end of, or the servo end. Okay, so I line them up so that the ridge, the area with the ridge, is on the top. Okay, so I'm going to go signal and then positive and negative. So with the connector, you have the square side and then you have the smaller rounded side. So we want to go in the back. And then on the top, this has the little keepers, okay? So we've got the keeper side facing up, the keeper side facing up. And then we just slide it in. All three of them slide in. You line them up, you can put them in one at a time. The important part is that you have the clip side facing up. And then the top is the open side. Now, we can listen, we can watch these, but they're going to slide right in and they'll lock. Every one of these are locked right off the bat. There's no fighting them. There's no issues. There's nothing. So once the male set is built, then we have to put the sleeve on it, okay? Now the sleeve is, when you look at it, you're not going to tell a difference. So there are 4 ways that this can go on, but there's only one way that's right. So if I slide it down and it locks, I slide that in and it locks. So you put it on until it snaps. Once it snaps, you're good to go. Now, the reason why I like the JR over the Futaba, just in my opinion, you get these ones that are the longer ends, and then they lock on there. But listen here, and you'll hear they also lock there. So I actually have to really put some force on them because they slightly lock into that keeper. So this is the kind of keeper that I like. I think it's, I think they're MPIs or something. So yeah, that's how I build my extensions. Thanks for taking time to watch this. Hopefully it helped. If there's anything else that you would like some feedback on, or questions you have as far as building goes, I might be able to answer them. If not, maybe we can rally up some people to help us out. This hobby's kind of dying off in a lot of ways. It's growing in others, but I'd love to see big gassers stay in the air because I think it's cool and it's fun. So, yeah, thanks for your time.